What do you do when the person you trusted most turns your home into a battlefield and your heart into a war zone? For Sarah, the answer wasn't tears or surrender, it was a plane ticket and a lesson in boundaries. Sarah had always been the peacemaker, the one who smoothed over family tensions with a smile and a home-cooked meal. Her small, cozy house in the suburbs was her sanctuary, filled with warm memories of her late husband, Tom. When her mother-in-law, Helen, lost her apartment due to unpaid rent, Sarah didn't hesitate. She opened her doors, offering Helen a place to stay until she got back on her feet. It was what Tom would have wanted, she told herself. But kindness, she would soon learn, doesn't always breed gratitude. At first, Helen seemed appreciative, her sharp tongue softened by the promise of stability. But the facade crumbled quickly. Helen refused to help with chores, dismissing Sarah's requests with a sneer. "I'm not your maid," she'd snap, lounging on the couch while Sarah juggled work and household duties. The tension simmered, but Sarah bit her lip, hoping patience would win out. It didn't. One evening, after a grueling day at the office, Sarah came home to a scene that stopped her heart. Her living room was a wreckage, cushions torn, picture frames shattered, Tom's old records strewn across the floor like discarded trash. Helen stood in the middle, arms crossed, a smug grin on her face. "You wanted me to cook?" she spat. "Here's what I think of your precious home." Sarah's hands trembled as she surveyed the damage. The photo of her and Tom on their wedding day lay in pieces, the glass cracked over their smiling faces. Something inside her broke too. "Why?" Sarah whispered, her voice barely audible over the pounding in her chest. Helen shrugged, unapologetic. "You're too soft, Sarah. You let people walk all over you. Maybe this'll toughen you up." The words stung worse than the destruction. Sarah had spent years keeping the peace, swallowing her pain to keep the family together. But this was a violation she couldn't forgive. For days, Sarah cleaned in silence, salvaging what she could. Helen didn't lift a finger, her presence a constant taunt. Sarah's anger grew, but so did her clarity. She wasn't just cleaning up a mess, she was reclaiming her life. Late one night, staring at the cracked photo of Tom, she made a decision. Helen didn't get to dictate her peace anymore. The next morning, Sarah booked a one-way ticket to a small coastal town she'd always dreamed of visiting. She packed a single bag, her heart racing with a mix of fear and exhilaration. Before leaving, she left a note on the kitchen counter. "Helen, you wanted to make a mess of my home. Now it's yours to deal with. I'm done." She didn't wait for a response. She locked the door, dropped the key in the mailbox, and drove to the airport. The coastal town was everything Sarah needed: salty air, endless horizons, and the kind of quiet that let her hear her own thoughts for the first time in years. She wandered the beaches, ate fresh seafood at tiny diners, and let herself cry for the life she'd tried so hard to hold together. Each day, she felt lighter, as if the ocean was washing away the weight of Helen's cruelty. Back home, Helen's smugness faded fast. Without Sarah to clean up her messes, literal and otherwise, she floundered. Bills piled up, the fridge emptied, and the house, still in disarray, became a mirror of her own chaos. Neighbors whispered about the older woman yelling at repairmen who refused to work without payment. Sarah's phone buzzed with angry voicemails, but she didn't answer. For the first time, she wasn't apologizing or fixing someone else's mistakes. Weeks later, Sarah returned, not because she felt guilty, but because she was ready. The house was worse than she'd left it. Helen had let it deteriorate further, as if to spite her. But Sarah wasn't the same woman who'd left. She hired a lawyer, served Helen an eviction notice, and began repairing her home, piece by piece. Helen, faced with the reality of her actions, had no choice but to leave, her pride as broken as the home she'd trashed. As Sarah swept up the last of the debris, she found the cracked wedding photo. She didn't cry this time. Instead, she smiled, tucking it away with a promise to herself. No one would ever take her peace again. The house, like her heart, was hers to rebuild. And this time, she'd do it on her terms. The lesson wasn't about revenge, it was about value.